Hello, this is Jack from tofluency.com. Welcome to this video. This video is a little bit different because you're going to listen to a conversation that my wife and I have had about Thanksgiving. So we're thinking about doing this maybe on a weekly basis to talk about different topics and to give you the chance to listen to both British and American English. So listen to the conversation, look at the description below for vocabulary that we use, and then let me know in the comment section if you found this useful. Here it is. So I'm joined by my wife, Kate. Hey, Kate.
Hi, Jack.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Who else are we here with right now?
We are here with our daughter, Emma.
Yeah, and we're hoping she's going to be fairly quiet throughout this recording. But if you do hear something in the background, no, it's our baby Emma, who is 5 weeks old today.
She is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So today's topic is Thanksgiving. Now, this is a holiday that we don't have in the UK. What is a typical Thanksgiving day like?
Well, first of all, Thanksgiving is really a holiday that is completely about family. And most people's family traditions involve staying at home, cooking a big meal. People often watch the Macy's Day Parade in the morning, football, American football, on Thanksgiving as well. So it's really a day to kind of stay at home inside, cook, eat a lot, and watch TV. That's basically what it boils down to.
Just go back to Macy's. What is Macy's?
Macy's is a big department store.
Right.
And they have their flagship store in New York. And every year they sponsor the big Thanksgiving Day Parade through New York with the giant balloons that take, probably dozens of people to hold down.
Right, so the main store, the flagship store, is in New York, and they sponsor this parade. So they give money to people to put on this parade. Is that right?
That's right.
I've had a few Thanksgivings now in the US, but do you remember my first ever one back in 2007?
I do, because we had just started dating. And we were long distance and you visited at the time. And so usually having Thanksgiving with your boyfriend or girlfriend is a pretty big milestone.
Really? So that was a big thing.
Yeah, like having a holiday with the other person's family is a big deal.
Yeah, and we actually flew on Thanksgiving Day, and a lot of people complain about the traffic around Thanksgiving because most people get Thursday and Friday off work. Mm-hmm. So they only have about 4 days to travel and to enjoy this holiday. Well, some people get Wednesday off, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, Wednesday is really busy.
Yes.
So is the weekend. Mm-hmm. But we actually flew on the Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. Mm-hmm. And it was lovely, wasn't it? It was peaceful.
It was really quiet. I think the key to remember too is that a lot of American families don't live in the same town or even, within a short drive of each other. So driving home for Thanksgiving or flying home is a pretty big deal. And Thanksgiving and Christmas are probably the two biggest holidays for traveling home or traveling to spend it with family.
And they're really close together. They're only about a month apart, usually.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, there's a lot of traveling that is done in November and December. People go home to their families. We're going to focus on Thanksgiving. So, people go home to their families, and it's mainly about the meal, isn't it?
It's all about the meal.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
And most American families do a variation on kind of a typical menu of turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing, rolls.
What do you mean by rolls?
And pies, like small bread rolls.
Right.
But it totally depends, and there's a little bit of variation across regions. For example, in the South, a lot of families do sweet potato casserole, which is very sweet and has a sweet nut topping a lot of times.
Very cool.
But
It sounds great.
yeah, it is. It's delicious. I did not grow up eating that though. So it's always a surprise to hear that people eat different things on Thanksgiving because it just seems like the menu is set in stone. You have the same thing every single year. It's such a traditional holiday.
Yeah. And we haven't really made this a traditional holiday yet, have we? Because we have, or you have family in the Northeast, which is near New York for the listeners if they don't know. We live in the Southeast in North Carolina. And it is difficult for us to travel. It's difficult for us to get up to Connecticut to spend the holiday with family and your friends from school. So we, at the moment, we're trying to work out what Thanksgiving looks like for us. You know, if we're going to create a tradition where we live, or if we want to try and travel to see family.
Well, there's also a phenomenon called Friendsgiving because Thanksgiving has traditionally been this big family holiday where everybody tries to get together and spend it with family. But because families are so spread out and because it's often difficult to travel, and unfortunately, some people don't have family that they can spend the holiday with for various reasons, you end up spending the holiday with your closest friends. And some people even do it potluck style, which means
What does that mean?
That you would be responsible for bringing a certain dish to contribute to the whole. So when we have potluck, you bring kind of one dish and everybody serves themselves from a big buffet of different dishes.
Yeah, because with potlucks, normally people just bring in whatever they want to bring. But I imagine with Thanksgiving, it's more like everybody gets assigned a certain dish to bring. So you can say, we're going to cook the turkey. You bring a potato dish. You bring some vegetables. You bring dessert. Let's talk about dessert.
Is that your favorite part of Thanksgiving, Jack?
It's the part I remember the most.
Yes,
about
because
Thanksgiving.
we're usually responsible for Thanksgiving dessert.
Yeah, we have been in the past, haven't we?
Yes, it's a very important responsibility, for sure, because everybody looks forward to dessert, even though you're usually too full to actually enjoy it for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because during the meal, because it's such a build-up towards the meal and everyone's so excited about the turkey and the potatoes and the mash, the rice in some cases, and the vegetables, Brussels sprouts, right?
Oh, Brussels sprouts. I forgot about them.
Yeah, they're the main thing for you.
Yeah. Oh, I love Brussels sprouts.
But because everyone gets excited about it, they want to eat as much as possible. They want to eat, as much turkey as possible and to go back for seconds.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the dessert, everyone's just so full.
But you make room.
You make room.
Sometimes
you take a break.
Space. Yes. Take a break. Like I said, maybe watch TV because that's part of the holiday. Watch football game and then come back for dessert. And the dessert is usually pie.
Yeah.
Or different kinds of pies. Typically apple pie, pumpkin pie. My personal favorite is pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
With ice cream.
Oh, with ice cream.
Yes. I feel like the ice cream is a really essential part of a Thanksgiving meal.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to remember
that. Or
that.
of any dessert, really,
And I guess with Thanksgiving, it's important that you have to prepare in advance because most things are closed, aren't they, on Thanksgiving Day?
On Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one of the only holidays where some stores actually close. Not all stores, but it's pretty typical for stores in America to stay open on holidays in the
Yeah.
United States. So, Thanksgiving, and in some cases, Christmas are the big ones. But I think Thanksgiving has a really special place in everybody's heart because it's just a holiday about being with family, or friends, and eating traditional foods and feeling thankful. I think most countries have some equivalent of, Thanksgiving or a day when you're supposed to feel especially grateful for what you have. But Thanksgiving is definitely uniquely American.
And do people talk about what they are thankful for before, during, after the meal? Does that happen?
Not necessarily in an organized way,
Right.
but I think that usually before you eat, it's traditional to say grace or say some kind of blessing over the meal, to give thanks for it. And there's a lot of kind of legend or mythology tied into it about how people from Europe who had come to the country were able to survive or eventually to be successful and have a harvest of some sort. So that's kind of the mythology or the legend behind it. And
Yeah, and it goes back further, doesn't it, to European traditions as well. Just at this time of year when the harvest is in, and you either have lots of food for the winter or you don't. And if you do, then you give thanks. It's like a traditional thing to do.
Do you have any equivalent meals or celebrations?
Remember when we were watching that program? Was it Edwardian Farm?
I vaguely remember it, but
You
you're going to have
loved
to
that
refresh
program.
me. I did love
But
that program.
there was one holiday that they talked about, and it's around the time of Halloween as well, where they celebrate the harvest. They celebrate the food that they have managed to get for the winter and to store for the winter. But in terms of what we celebrate now, there's nothing that's equivalent. However, Black Friday, since I left the UK in 2007, Black Friday has become a huge thing now in the UK.
That's so funny because in the United States, really Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. It's, Thanksgiving is kind of this holiday that stops people from getting too into Christmas because everybody says, "Oh, you can't do Christmas yet. It hasn't even been Thanksgiving." And then the moment that Thanksgiving is over, and actually the end of the parade that we were talking about before is a special float where Santa Claus comes down and it signals, all right, fall is over or the fall celebration is over. We can focus on Christmas now. And so a lot of people go out after Thanksgiving and shop, which is how Black Friday came about.
So Black Friday is a time, if someone's listening right now and you don't understand what it is, Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving when people go crazy about shopping because there are lots of sales on.
Yep.
So Amazon, for example, Walmart, Best Buy, all the big stores, all stores in fact, they have sales where they reduce the prices of certain goods. And then people go crazy about this.
Yeah, they're
Certain
trying
people.
to encourage people to buy their Christmas presents at their store. But some stores, people camp out or stay up all night to be there at the very beginning. It's become not a tradition, but the past few years, there were stores even that would open at midnight.
It was
on
6 p.m.
Thanksgiving
last
Day.
year, some stores.
Wow. So it just keeps getting earlier and earlier.
Because they want to be the first ones open.
Right.
So people can go. And the idea is, okay, you've had your Thanksgiving dinner now. Let's go shopping.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, pretty much once Thanksgiving is over, people feel like, okay, we can focus on Christmas. But I guess that's becoming less and less, as Black Friday gets further and further into Thanksgiving. A lot of people rebel against that
Yeah.
and want to shop early or do something alternative rather than going to a traditional store and buying presents. But I don't know. I heard one of our friends actually finished her Christmas shopping last month.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, I'm a person who leaves it right to the last minute. Sometimes
Yeah.
I get your present early, but yeah.
Usually if I ask for something
Yeah, usually you
specific.
say, I want to get this, and I say, well, Christmas is a few weeks away. Let me get you this for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And then I don't have to make that decision of what to get you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I want to get you something special this year.
Okay, well, you've said this now on audio.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see what happens at Christmas.
Yeah.
Um,
I haven't, by the way, just a disclaimer. I haven't
Okay.
actually bought you anything.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Okay, cool. Well, do you go shopping on Black Friday? Do you buy
No.
anything?
No.
Online?
Online, maybe. I might go shopping online because that way you don't have to deal with the crowds and people. And actually, our downtown has a special Black Friday event where local stores that are run by small businesses have a Thanksgiving sale. And this year it might be fun to check that out.
Yeah, maybe. Especially because most people go to the mall.
Yep.
And to strip malls where these big stores are. And where we live in Asheville, there are a lot of local independent shops. And therefore, you don't get those big crowds of people wanting to buy a TV. They don't go downtown to do it. Whereas in the UK, most city centres have those big stores in the city centre. So when it's Christmas shopping, for example, the downtown area, or in British English we say the city centre, is packed full of people shopping.
Do you think that that Americans or British people get more excited about Black Friday shopping?
Well, as I say, this is a recent thing. When I was growing up, we didn't have Black Friday. No one knew what it was. But then, suddenly, I see all my friends posting on Facebook talking about Black Friday and deals and going to different, shopping centres and talking about this. And I didn't realise it had become a thing, but I guess because of social media, that companies will see, oh, there's a Black Friday event. Let's try and use this as an excuse to have a sale and to get people excited about shopping.
Right.
So these things spread quite quickly. And yeah, but growing up, we didn't know what Black Friday was. And it's all just based on the fact that American Thanksgiving is on a Thursday. So therefore, Black Friday in the UK will be the same as America.
Right. I always felt that that maybe America was a little bit more commercial in that sense.
Yeah, I think it still is, but these things do spread and they do become more popular. For example, American shops have probably been open on Sundays for a long, long time.
Yes.
Whereas this was quite new when I was probably around 14, 15, supermarkets started to stay open on a Sunday. So these things do come into the UK, but probably a little bit later.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. And speaking of, so I guess if Black Friday is the more commercial aspect of Thanksgiving, which you are not a big Black Friday shopper.
Online a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But what about Thanksgiving? Just to back up a few steps. How do you feel about Thanksgiving as somebody from another country?
I really like it. I mean, I enjoy all the American holidays now. I feel like I've embraced them. And I'm starting to understand what they all mean and what they all represent. And it's something to look forward to. When I first got here, I didn't take those days off because I was teaching English. I just decided to teach on 4th of July, to teach on, different days, maybe not Thanksgiving, but on most American holidays. But I really like it. It's nice and calm. We always seem to get really good weather as well for Thanksgiving, because we've had friends come over, we've had family come down as well, and I just remember it being really nice outside.
Yeah, I usually think of Thanksgiving as definitely a day to go take a walk with family, but also as it being kind of a gray holiday, usually, just
Right.
in that most of the leaves have fallen by the time that Thanksgiving gets here. So autumn is, or October and September, just you see really spectacular colors as the leaves change. And then we get to Thanksgiving and everything is kind of brown and
Right.
gray.
Yeah.
But still, it's,
But
any,
that makes you want to stay inside.
yeah. So it's
Maybe
kind
put
of
on
the
the
two
fire.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very cool. So Thanksgiving is about a week away. We're not sure what we're doing yet.
No, but we're probably going to be doing a Friendsgiving this year.
Yeah.
Just because it's going to be very difficult to travel with two young children, but
Yeah, to go back
hopefully,
to traveling.
yeah. And it feels like now that we have two children, it feels like we're our own family.
Yeah.
Like we're not just a couple. And we're not just a couple who happens to have a kid. We're a family.
Yeah. And this allows our older son the opportunity to play with his friends on Thanksgiving too.
Which will be nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that will be our long-term tradition. I would really like to start thinking about some things that we could do that would be, really, really traditional for us. Like when I was growing up, I remembered that we had certain silverware that we would only use on Thanksgiving, and we always had a similar menu. And that would be something that I would like to think about doing in another year. But right now, we have a newborn.
Yeah.
We're kind of sleep deprived.
Yeah.
We're a long way from family.
Yeah. We're just going to try and make the most out of it.
As fun as possible.
Well, very good. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
And speak to you guys soon.